So welcome back everybody, welcome back. So here we are again on a Monday evening, 7 o'clock, well just past 7 o'clock now, quarter past, and we're on Making It Monday. Let me just raise you up a little bit, there we go. So I can see you coming in now, so that's really pleasing. So we'll get going on this because we've wasted too much time dithering. So welcome to Making It Monday. So project 15, and it's the easy peasy pouch. So we'll get straight on with it, so not waste any time. And as you recall, this is the one that I made. This is the gorgeous fabric, and I told you earlier where I got that from. So go back and you can have a little look at that. So I've got all my pieces cut out. We're actually going to be doing a little bit of quilting on here. Now, if you're stitching along and quilting you find a little bit daunting, this is so easy. But I'm going to do it right from the get-go, right from the beginning, so there's nothing missing out. You'll be able to see it all. I'm going to move my camera down, move my phone down so you can see. So thank you for joining me this evening, and we're going to get going straight away. Now I'm going to follow the pattern as best I can because, you know, sometimes go off-piste a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is the tabs. So and welcome to everybody. I absolutely cannot read anything on the screen because I'm blind as a bat, but I will try and get it up on my PC here so I can at least see how everybody's doing and if they've got any questions for me. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, sometimes it's difficult to ask me questions because it's no longer live. But obviously, I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have. I'll be delighted to answer as much as I possibly can. So there we are. Now I can see the comments because I've got the right lenses on for that particular distance. So I'm going to pop the camera down on my desk. We'll spend most of our time there, and I'll try and get it so you're going to see the machine and me stitching and things like that. But first of all, we're going to make those tabs because that's the first thing in the pattern. And then we're going to be doing the quilting on the actual outside piece, okay? Hopefully you're all happy with that. And I'm just going to lower you down. So bear with while I do that. There we go. And I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got two of these to make. And you've got the instructions in the pattern. You've got pattern pieces as well this week, which is fun. And all you're going to do first of all is to fold your tabs in half, and that gives you a sort of a guideline of where you're bringing the long raw edges up to. So there we go. We've folded them in half. So now open them up. Now I always give them a little minute because working on a little wool mat, it gets really hot, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So I just leave it for a second just to cool down. And all we're going to do then is bring the long sides in, and you can see this on the pattern piece, the long sides in, just turn that around. And then you're going to fold it again. Now you don't need to really do all this. You could do this, you know, when it's just folding as you go, but it's nice for people that are new to Making It Mondays to see all the processes and see how we get to that end stage, because for some people it's not always common sense. Well, nothing to me today is common sense, but I'll go with it. I'll go with it. So bring your raw edges up to the middle, and hopefully you can see that perfectly well. And then you're going to fold it in half, and then we're just going to top stitch. So it's dead easy to make these little tabs. So we'll do that straight away. We'll bring the machine in so you can see. Let's see if we can get it right in the middle there. And I'm going to move you down so you can see exactly where I'm stitching. And I don't think that's too bad a view actually. And so let me get my little wool mat out of the way. So all we're going to do is you're going to have your stitch on about 2.5, 2.4, 2.5, and you're just going to stitch both sides. Now, even though we've got a lovely folded edge on one side, you're still going to stitch both sides, okay? Because you want it to look, oh, I've been free motioning, so let's put the feed dogs up. But you want both sides to look really super neat. So you could now chain piece if you want to and add this one on, or you can just come round to the other side and then finish one strap off or one tab off, and then you can do the next one. So we'll get the scissors and trim our threads, keeping everything as neat as you possibly can. So there we are. And hasn't it been absolutely glorious weather? My goodness me, I hope you've all been out for a walk and enjoyed the spring sunshine. Well, certainly here in sunny Suffolk in the UK, it's absolutely lovely. It's so encouraging. And I think it's just what we need, isn't it? So just trim those threads off as well. Now the next step is to actually loop these over on themselves. So you're just bringing the raw ends together and you're just going to stitch across those raw edges, and we're just going to just make ourselves a little loop. You can see what that looks like. Okay, no problem at all. And then you're going to do the same for the other side, and we've prepped that now. I've got a little bit of a bird's nest, if you can see, on my stitches. Now, just to save time, I'd normally get my scissors and cut that all away, but what I'll do is I'll put it to the inside of my loop so we can't see it. That way, if we can't see it, we don't know. So just trim those threads away. Oh my gosh. And all your little threads. And then we're good to go with those two little tabs. Look, they're just ready to put on the bag. And actually, my lining is the gingham. And I've got little beautiful little flowers. I don't know, they're like little pansies, I suppose. I'm just looking at them to see. You'll have to, when you look at it, you'll have to tell me what you think. But these are the lining, and I thought that would be pretty cool to have them as the lining, as the tabs. So that's the first little bit. Now the next thing we need to do is to mark the lines for quilting. Now please don't get excited about this, okay, because this is super easy. There's nothing for you to worry about, and all you need preferably is a heat erasable pen. Now what I do is I find the 45-degree line on my ruler, which is this line going across here, and I lay that, let's do it the other way around, I lay that on my fabric. There we are. Hopefully you can see that. So that 45-degree line is going across the straight edge of my fabric, and all I'm going to do is draw a line from there. Okay, so that's my first line drawn, and then all I'm going to do is turn that around. Let's make sure we don't lose the tabs, and I'm going on 2-inch increments. So then I'm using the line here as my guide there, and I'm using the yellow lines of my ruler to draw my guidelines in. And obviously you want to try and get it so it's all beautifully parallel. Now because this is light fabric, when I iron these lines off, even if I got ghosting lines, it wouldn't matter. And I've got full intentions of stitching on these lines, so really it doesn't matter a jot. If you've got dark fabric, you may want to be a little bit more careful than me. Let me just get that a wee bit better. I've got a lump in my mat, so it's where it folds. So you can see how those lines look. They're lovely and clear. I'm so pleased you can see them. So to do it the other way around, we're going to do the same again. So turn your fabric, find the 45-degree line, which is, and I still keep doing it the wrong way. Let's do that again. Yes, sorry. Find your 45-degree. It's like everything, isn't it? More haste, less speed. And you're putting that 45-degree along here, but also look, you're making your yellow, on my ruler they're yellow lines, whatever line colour they are, and you can see they're running parallel with the lines I've already drawn. So I would just sort of go for it. You could measure this all out and do all sorts of wonderful things, but let's try not to lose too much of our lives by being too precious. So I'm just doing the 2 inches again, which is quite big squares, but you don't want anything too big, and really it's just to give a little bit of interest, and also it's good practice for us as well, isn't it? So there's the first grid done, nice and easy. So let's do the second one. So hopefully you haven't fallen asleep yet. And what we'll do is we'll put that 45-degree line on the straight of our fabric there, and I'm just going to move that along a wee bit and then draw my first line, turn the whole thing around, put my 2-inch marker on that line I've just drawn, I'll be a little bit more careful this time. And then just draw your lines across. And like I said, if you're using dark fabric, be cautious of using a heat erasable pen. I'll be honest with you, when I've tested these out, it has actually washed out. Now, I'm not saying that's true for everything, but I can only say what my experience is. So I'm putting my yellow lines on my already drawn lines. I'm not too worried that if they match the other side, I've got more time to spend doing other things and worrying about my grids. So my 2-inch line's going across now, and hopefully we'll have a fairly nice sort of quilting pattern going on. So there we are. So that's our 2 pieces done. So let's get rid of the ruler. Let's get rid of the pen. We don't need that anymore. Pop it away, and we're going to pop it under the machine. And I've already got my wadding on the back. Okay, I've got 80/20 wadding here. If you want to go thicker, go thicker. If you don't want any wadding at all, don't bother. You could put 2, this is 80/20, so you could put 2 layers of 80/20 down. I've done that many times. There's so many different things you can do with such a simple pouch. It's fantastic that we've got those sort of products, I suppose, available to us to be able to do that. So let's just try and get you in the centre of the camera there. So no special equipment required, ladies and gents. We're just going to use our regular foot on our machine. You could backstitch top and bottom if that secures that first and last stitch, because sometimes they come undone while we're fiddling about. Sometimes the stitches come undone. So it's good to catch those first couple of little stitches. It's also good if you've got a foot like mine where I can see right through it. There's a definite gap, so I can see exactly, I can see that I'm following the black line, which is really useful. If you've got like a satin stitch foot, that's really open, and again, you'll be able to see right where the needle is. And it's a useful foot to use for things like this where you need to see where you're going. So a little top tip there for you. So try that, see what the difference is for you. So no, nothing difficult about this. It's just my regular foot, regular thread. My wadding was glued on with a fabric spray adhesive, a temporary one. So I think that just about covers it all. I haven't changed my stitch length, but you could go up to 3 because it's a quilting stitch and you want it perhaps to be a feature. You could use variegated thread to make this look absolutely fabulous. So lots you can do. So there's one side already stitched. So that's so easy, isn't it? Obviously I've got a quick back stitch and I've got my thread cutter. If you haven't got those things, then you're still going to stitch these as quickly as me, and you'll get a first class result as well. So we'll just finish this side off. Can you see how pretty that fabric looks? I'm going to try and look in the, yeah, I can see it in the camera. It looks amazing, doesn't it? Isn't it so pretty? It's like a rosebud. Oh, it's gorgeous. Now, where did I get this from? I think this was from Higgs and Higgs. They have a section on their website that is bundles, but their bundles are fat quarters, half meters and meter bundles. And I do believe this was one of the meter bundles. And I think 5 or 6 in each bundle, 5 or 6 different fabrics. Yeah, so that's a great regular one for me. But I'm not fussy. I like you guys, I like fabric from anywhere I can get it. And of course our Abigail does the most amazing fabric sales. So if you ever want fabric a lot cheaper that you can get on the high street, then please look out for Abigail's sales. She does them on her Facebook page. Get Sewing with Abigail, and I think you can honestly say they're fast and furious. So you have to be quick with the keyboard. It's no good if you can't type very quick. Perhaps get your children to do it for you if you're of an age like me. So there we are. So there's our quilting all done. Now obviously the trick now is to take all those lines away so it looks beautiful. So of course what I'll do is I'll just move the machine out of the way, bring my lovely wool mat up. While that's heating up that iron, I'll just snip my ends just to make them neat. They're not too bad actually. I mean the thread cutter is good, but when you start off you obviously get a long thread, and sometimes you just want to keep everything tidy. So there we are. So all I'm going to do now is remove my black lines, and it kind of transforms it. So if we have a look at it now, you can see what that looks like, where half is taken, half the pen is taken away, and you've still got the half there. And I just think it's marvellous. Like I said, in my experience, and I can only say from what I have done, I have washed my fabric that's had a heat erasable pen on it, and those lines go. Now I'm not saying that's the case for all pens, I'm just saying in my experience that's what happened to me. So there we are. So there's our two lovely quilted pieces of fabric there, and just for a moment, you know what, just for 2 minutes of your time, you've created something that has a little bit more texture to it and a little bit more interest. And if you look at the one that I did with the bugs, I mean it's not heavily quilted, but it's got interest there. You can see where the lines are, and it's giving it, you've got that padded feeling, but it's not overly padded. So let's just get crack on with this. Now in the pattern it says you need a really long zip, and I've got a 19-inch piece of zip here, and I think if you know me by now, you know that I only use zip on a roll because I find it so easy to work with, really easy to work with, because it means I can cut any length I want. And the idea is that you can slide your slider out of the way so you don't have to worry about it. It's sort of just tucked away nicely. So we can take it right down to the end here. And if you're at all worried about losing the slider, then just stitch over the ends. In fact, we can do that now. This is far too long. This is about probably 2 inches longer than I need. So let's just get this machine in. We'll just go over the ends of that. It doesn't want to move. Let's just go a little bit closer. Try that. That's it. It's all right now. So I'll just stitch over that. It doesn't like going over the end, but you can see I've just caught it. We'll do the same the other end. Let's go there. How funny. This machine will stitch through just about anything except today, when it's saying I don't want to play. So there we are. Let's move that in so you can absolutely see what I'm doing. We'll just move you slightly again, just so we've got you right in the centre. So now, normally I'll say to you that you're going to put one side on first, so you do your outer fabric first onto your zip and then do the lining. But tonight we're going to do it at the same time, so be warned. Now, zip sandwiches, always the same in how I do it. Right side of the zip facing me, got the slider, so the right side of my fabric is going down, okay, on top of the right side. So you can see there's the back where the wadding is. So it's right side to right side, and then with my lining, now it's going to be difficult to see, but there's no right or wrong side to this. So we'll just assume that this is the right side and it's right side facing up. So let's say that again. Right side of my fabric, right side of my zip, right side of my lining. Okay? And we've got the cutout piece, so don't worry about that. So we've got all those 3 layers together. And this is where you can clip and pin for England or anybody else or anywhere else in the world. So I'm going to, well, I'll use a pin, but I'm not, you know me, I'm going to take them out straight away. Oh, those new pins are so blunt. I'm going to use clips. So, of course, you can clip all the way around to secure that zip, the tape, in those 2 layers, okay? Absolutely. You can keep filling as you go around and clip, and then tuck it in, and then clip again. So I'm fiddling too much. There we go. Fiddle again, and clip until you've got the whole zip in place. Okay, that's your prerogative. You do that if you feel comfortable. You know I'm not going to, because I tend to go freestyle. I tend to not like to pin or clip if I can. They just get in my way. So I'm changing to my zipper foot. Now my zipper foot does not go near the zipper teeth at all. Look how my zipper foot looks. I want you to see that. It's really weird. I love it. I really, really love it. I don't know why, but it just absolutely ticks all my boxes. But it's not like a regular zipper foot where the needle comes right out to the side, and so you can get right up to the teeth. To be honest, I like it that it gives me that little bit of space there, which means that when I do put my zip in, it's quite a way away. Let's see if I can pull this out. It's quite a way away from the teeth. Can you see that? You see the difference? This is what I'm trying to sort of talk to you about. So you could have it so the fabric goes right up to the teeth. I prefer to see a bit of zippage, and they're so pretty, aren't they? So why not? Let's see it. There's other ways of actually putting zips in, which we can cover another time. So I'm just going to start off. Well, let's put the foot on. That would be helpful. So we'll put the foot on, tighten it up, give it a little twist with a screwdriver, and we're just going to go for it. So all the layers, right side of your outer fabric, right side of your zip, right side of your lining facing up. Okay, so when you look at it, all the right sides are looking at you. And we're going to start a little bit away from the zip slider so it doesn't get in your way. And we'll put the foot down. Okay, so I want to see how much you can see and whether I can actually put you in a different angle. I'm going to move you, so I'm sorry if you're seasick. I'm sorry if you're a bit, you know, the old dicky in the tummy if I move you. Let's just have a quick look. Is that a better angle for you to see? I have no idea. I'll move you and then you can see how we get on. I'll maybe move you slightly like that. How about that? I think that's not a bad view. And then I'll bring you around when I'm done, yeah? So I've got all my 3 layers together. And I think that's not too bad, is it? And then I'm just going to work my way around. Now please don't stretch any of this, because obviously you've got 2 curves going on. So I know it would be tempting to stretch and pull, but all I want you to do is manipulate the tape. And I'm just doing 1.25 inches at a time. That's all. What I really want to do is to make sure that my 2 fabric pieces are raw edge to raw edge. Yeah, that's a good view. I'm just looking at that now. And just tucking my tape. Can you see? I'm just tucking my tape inside. Let me just swing that around. So can you see that tape is just coming up to the edge of my lining fabric. And because this is straight, obviously I've got to manipulate it so it will go around a corner. So I'm really seriously taking my time. And of course you could do the outer fabric first and then do the lining. Absolutely, why not? But this is quicker, even though we take our time, it is slightly quicker. Now I'm not going to top stitch, only because it's time saving, but by all means do the 2 sides of the zip and then top stitch, okay? But I'll leave that for you to decide. So we're just coming round the corner there, right down to the bottom, and hopefully our 2 pieces will meet fairly well. It's not too bad. Seem better, seem worse. And we just come round. We just want to make sure that that zip tape is square on. There we go. Not too bad a job, not too bad a job. So we've gone all the way around. You can see it beautifully on the screen there. So happy about that. But when we look at it, and I'll try to bring it round so you can see. Let's do it so we can see it that way. When you turn it right side out, you can see how beautiful that zip looks. And I will give that a press, but I'll press it when I've done the other side. But you can see how much zipper tape you can see on mine, and that's purely because of my zipper foot. I mean, it's 1/8 of an inch, so it's going to give me 1/8 of an inch away from the teeth. But if you want to go nearer, by all means go nearer. Yeah, super. Right, so we'll do the other side. So the same rules apply. There's nothing different when we're doing the other side. So let's just swing that through. Let's have a look. Where am I going? Going the wrong way round. That's it. Oh, we'll keep it like that. I think that'll be fine. So on this side, again, I've got the right side of my teeth showing. Listen, the other side, you can't see the teeth. That's the best way to think about this. On the back side of your zip, you can't see the teeth. In fact, you do wonder where they are. But on the front, you can definitely see the teeth. It's quite a difference, isn't it? If I show you again. So there's the back, and there's the front. So it's quite a difference. So again, what we're going to do is exactly what we did before. We're going to do right sides facing the right side of the zip, making sure they're all lined up. Not too bad. Like I say, I've seen better and I've seen worse. And I'm putting the right side of my lining, just like we did before. So if you're not sure, wait till the end of the evening, wait till I'm finished, and then watch the Facebook Live back again. It'll be on YouTube, possibly this evening, certainly tomorrow. So you mustn't worry that you've missed something, because you can watch it back. And the videos on Facebook are there all the time, unless I choose to delete it. So the one that I did earlier today, I will delete, okay? But I can't do it now because I'm doing this. So there we go. So we're going around these little corners again, these little curves. So don't forget, it's the outer fabric and the lining that you want beautiful. Ideally, you want all 3 layers to be lovely, but you want the lining and the outer to sit nicely on top of each other. That's what I'm trying to say. And just work your way around. Just take your time. You can see I'm not hurrying. I'm not going massively quick. I want to make a nice pretty case. I don't want to spoil it. So we're just coming around the other side of the curve, if you like. Just sitting those 2 fabrics together. Again, like I say, you can pin, you can use your quilting clips, you can even hand baste it. But you don't need to rush. You don't need to rush. The idea of a Making It Monday project is that they're easy, they're quick, they're simple, and they're useful. And that's what it's all about. And it's just sharing a little bit of my time with you and enjoying that, because this is a little bit of me time, actually. This is me being utterly selfish, because I hardly ever stitch for myself. Hardly ever. Sometimes, occasionally, when I'm on holiday I do. Then I take hand stitching. So there we are. So I'm going to bring you round to the side again now. So be warned if you're a little bit seasick, okay? So I'll just warn you, and I'll go really, really slowly around my table until we come to the other side. There we go. Not too bad. And if you're sending me stars, because I just saw some stars, thank you very much indeed. That's absolutely lovely. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go ahead. Thank you very much. So now we've got the most beautiful, beautiful half a pouch made. So we'll just have a look at it from the outside. I actually want to press this before I go any further. And you can see that the zip is far too long, but that's okay. And we're a little bit out there, look, but I can live with that, okay? This is not a problem to me. And obviously if I was doing this for myself, I would have been a lot more careful. But on a demonstration, you just have to sort of kind of go with it. So I'm going to press that now so it's all lovely and beautiful. And I'll bring my little iron in. I'm just going to look at my pattern just to see, because what I really want to do is follow the pattern as best I can. So we've done both sides, we're going to trim, then we're going to put the tabs on. That's great. Okay, so let me see, let's open this right up. So again, if you've stitched at the end there, that'll stop your slider coming off anyway. And the reason, look at that, because we've got an extra long zip, we can open that right out, look. There we are, you can see it now. Which means I can get in there and press, and I don't have to worry. If my zip was really, really short, then I couldn't do this part very, very well. I could still do it, but it wouldn't be so easy. And so we're just going to give that a nice little press. Both sides. I'll do the lining, and then the outer, and then I'll do the lining. And like I say, this is the moment to top stitch, guys. So if you want to top stitch, do it now, because this is the perfect time. Doesn't that look pretty? Right, so let's do the inside. And of course this pressing will allow the fabric to sit where it's supposed to sit and not catch in the zip. And that's another good reason why you'd want to keep it away from the zip teeth, because unless you top stitch, that fabric can move and it can get stuck in the zipper teeth. So either top stitch or stitch a little bit further away from your edges. I think that looks beautiful. So what we need to do now is change the foot. So let's do that. See if I can find my foot. Oh, there it is. And we're just going to put the tabs on. We're going to cut the zip down and we're going to put the tabs on next, according to my pattern, which I wrote early in the week, but as soon as I've written it, I've forgotten. It doesn't become, it's not my pattern after that. For whatever reason, mentally, I suppose I think I get rid of it in my head. So let's just close that zip up, at least on this side. So I'm going to trim it back. So on the pattern, you'll see that you trim it sort of level with your fabric, and then we're going to stitch across that just to hold that zip teeth in place, and then we're going to stitch the tab on. Now we're going to do that in 2 stages, so you might want to rush ahead and, you know, sort of put the tab on now, but while that's sort of in one piece, that's what I want to stitch to make sure it absolutely stays together. Because if that splits, that's such a nuisance, it really is. So let's just move it a bit better for you. So I'm going to pop that under my machine. I'm going to be really careful, and I'm going to stitch across that and make it really secure. So 2 or 3 rows of stitching, so it looks like that. Okay, you can see what that looks like. So I've done that stitching across there. So now what I'm going to do is put my tab right over the top, just there, and I'm going to stitch that in place. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and do that at the same time, by all means. But sometimes it's better to do things slowly and carefully. So 2 or 3 rows of stitching, and you can see that tab fits perfectly. And actually, it's really smashing for the size of the zip and how that looks. So if I lift that up, you can see that it fits beautifully in there. So we'll just trim some of these threads away because it's looking a bit scruffy. Okay, and we're going to do the other end. Now look, this end is tricky because obviously our slider, let's make sure you can see, our slider is over here, okay? And we've got these open teeth, and that's one of the reasons why I like to stitch first and then put the tab on, because we want to make sure that these teeth are level. Now you could bring this down a little bit more so you make sure that zip absolutely meets, and I might just tidy this up a little bit. But I'm going to do my stitching across here. Hopefully you can see that, because you see that's a good 1/4 inch longer here. I'm going to ignore that. That's where I'm going to stitch across there. So pop it under your machine again. and just bring the ends of the, or the sides of the zips together. So I'll just move that slide a little bit. Now I know you can't see much, but what I'll do is I'll do it and then I'll show you. So let's just bring them together. You want to hold it and do a double turn somersault, cartwheel. But what you want to do is to stitch those pieces of zip together. Okay, does that make sense? And I'm just going to trim this away here. So let's just do that. I'll do that before I put the tab in, I might as well. So I'm just going to open up that seam a little bit and just cut a little bit away. I'll show you what I've done. Doesn't matter too much, but just it'll be aesthetically pleasing. There we go. I don't know what the lining's like, but so that looks a little bit better now, doesn't it? Let's get that one over there. There we go. Still got a few loose ends to snip away. I'm fiddling now, whereas I shouldn't be. I should be just getting on with it. But I'm a bit perfectionist. There we are. So now I'm going to put my tab across there. I'll put my tab on and then I think I'll cut the rest of that zip away. But for goodness sake, make sure you have that zip slider on this half. Okay? Yeah. Hopefully you can see that. It looks really bright. I don't know if it is super bright. I'm going to turn my light off a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if that was super bright there. But yeah, so I'm just now going to put my tab on and then I'll cut the rest of this zip away. Okay, so you can see there what it looks like that. Right, so let's get the other little tab in. Just make sure my lining, it just wants to keep going over. So I've got to tell it who's boss. And I'll just put that tab on there. So 2 or 3 lines of stitching just to make sure it's absolutely secure, and then I'm just going to cut that away. And like I said, just be careful that your zip slider is definitely where it should be. So open that zip up now, okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the bottom seam. So we're going to stitch these 2 pieces together. So I'm just going to move you slightly and take you away a bit so we can get in a little bit more in vision here. So basically what you're going to do, so this is how it looks, right? So you've got the tabs each end, okay? So you're going to take this piece and you're going to put it right sides together, okay? So you're just literally going to turn it through. I've got hold of those ends. These lining pieces will also get stitched right sides together, but we don't need to worry about those at the moment. But this is what it ends up looking like. So if you're doing this at the same time as me now, this is what you'll get, and you'll think, oh my gosh, what on earth? So really, you've turned your bag inside out, but don't forget to open up that zip, guys. So we've got the 2 straight edges of our outer pieces together now, and we've got the 2 straight edges of our lining pieces. But what we want to do is leave a turning gap in the lining. Okay, so about, I don't know, 3 inches, let's say, in the lining, a turning gap. So all we're going to do is stitch straight across the bottom, a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let's just get you in so you can see what I'm doing. Not very interesting, but you can absolutely see. So right sides together of my outer fabric. And it's one of those things you think, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. No idea how that's going to work, but it absolutely does. But you must remember to open the zip. I think I've said that 3 times now. It's only because I know that I've done that myself. I haven't, so I know. So there we are. So I've stitched right across here, so you can see how that looks. If I turn it around, that's how it looks. Okay. So now we're going to stitch our lining pieces together, but we're going to leave that turning gap, okay? So we're going to stitch about, oh, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, 2.5 inches. I don't measure, for goodness sake, don't measure. So 2.5 inches. And can I say a big thank you to my admin team, because I've noticed that they are answering questions for lots of ladies and gents, and that's lovely. They're there. They're not there for Lizzie Curtis page. They're there for my Making It Monday group and my special gold online sewing group, and they are the most amazing bunch of ladies. And they're helping me out tonight because I can see they've been answering questions here on Facebook. So there we are. So I've stitched across both of my lining pieces now, and can you imagine that they are actually right sides together, and I've left a little turning gap here. Okay, so the next thing, if we have a look at the pattern, I just want to make sure I'm following this correctly. We're going to now this is where you might get a little bit confused, because what we want to do is we want to box these corners, right? So if you remember, we've got these cut out pieces, and you'll have looked at those all the way along thinking, how are we going to do this? Well, what you're going to do, you're going to box them as normal, but you're going to box them both at the same time. Okay, now that might sound a bit weird, but trust me, it works. So get your finger in one of them, doesn't matter whether you do lining or the other, and just split open. I'll try and do this so you can see. So split open your boxy corner, so you've got the seam, the bottom seam flat across, yep. And if I turn that around, hopefully you can see the zip there. So that zip is going straight across, and that's going straight across, okay? And I'll do this again so you can see what I did. And then with the lining, you're doing the same. You're just opening up. I'm going to try and do it so I get my finger in, you can see. So I'll get my finger in. You're opening that seam up and you're flattening it out. Okay, so your seam again, I'll have to turn this around so it's better for me. So your seam again goes right across your zip. So let me just go, I'll get my screwdriver in here because that isn't quite opened out properly. There we are. So can you see how that looks? I just want to make sure you can see this okay. I know it's tricky. So your lining seam is, the bottom seam that we've just stitched is now in the centre, and the same for the other side. And you're going to stitch those both at the same time, okay? So if I open this up again, that's what it looks like. I just want to make sure you can see. So pop your finger in there and flatten that out. So you see these corners here, there and round here. Those are going to be your outer corners. So pop your finger in and just split that open. Do the same with your lining. Split that open. And you might want to get a sort of pokey tool in there to sort of manipulate it a little bit. There we go. And you're just going to stitch right across there. Don't worry about how that looks. My goodness me. Don't worry about how that looks. But we're going to stitch all the way across. We're going to do the same for the other side. All right, guys? There's quite a lot of light on this, so I'm hoping you can see. I'm hoping you can see. Please let me know if you can't see. There's absolutely no point if you can't see. So let me just open that up again. Just once more, and then I'll stitch. So that's what you end up with, okay? So you've got your lining stitched together here, and you've got your outer stitched together there, and you've got that funny old shape going on. Okay, so if I turn it like that, you'll be able to see. And you're just putting your finger in there, and you're just flattening that out, just like you would with a regular boxy bottom. You put your finger in the lining piece, and you'll flatten that out as well. So they're now sitting on top of each other. The lining and the outer are now sitting on top of each other. Okay, so let me just plug you into the mains. Bear with, while we get a little bit of technical knowledge going on. There we go, that's better. So we're going to stitch right across those ends. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. So that's the easiest way of me trying to explain that to you. But all you've got to do, you know what, if you're really confused about the whole thing, please don't be. Look back at this video again and listen to my words. Listen to my words. And like I say, it just takes a little bit of fiddling. And like I say, you might want to get a pokey tool on them just to open up. I'll use my screwdriver as it's handy. Just sort of flatten that out a little bit. And then we're just going straight across. So don't forget, you're stitching now across quite a few layers. So you're stitching across the zip and the tab and all your fabrics and the wadding and the lining. So just be careful, just be mindful. You can trim that off if you want to, make it look pretty. Doesn't matter, it's going inside. So I've stitched right across there. So again, we'll go on the other side, open that up, just like you would a regular boxy bottom, but you're stitching them both at the same time. So let's split that open again. And let's just make sure I've caught all of that. And stitch across. I'm going to check the back of this because it didn't look like I'd caught the wadding part, but we'll see. So don't forget, like I said, be mindful because you're going across the zip. And if you've used a metal zip, just be absolutely careful because you do not want to break your needles or even break your machine. So, there we are. Let's get you out of that light a little bit. So there's our boxy bottom stitched. Looks okay, doesn't it? Okay. So, thank goodness we have a turning gap, and thank goodness we left our zip open. Let's see what happens. These always look awful, don't they, when they turn through? I say that every time, but it does. While you've got the lining showing, do stitch the turning gap. And I'll tell you the reason why. Let me show you on the one I'm at. I'll just put that there for a second. Because look how obvious that is. Okay, you can see my turning gap where I've stitched. So please, please, please stitch your turning gap. So I want a proper pokey tool. Where's my pokey tool? Here we go. Our lovely Jackie, one of my admin team again, she bought me this chopstick for Christmas. It's one of my gifts. Isn't she kind? So kind. So there's one corner poked out. Oops, sorry. So you can see what that looks like. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to have to do that turning gap. I could do it as a special treat because I don't do them very often. And obviously, like everything else, it needs a jolly good press. But anyway, look, there we are. So it needs a press, obvs. But let's be really good and stitch that turning gap. So just pull on the seams, just give it a pull, and finger press and stitch, okay? Nothing complicated. If you want a hand stitch, fill your boots. You won't, unless I'm absolutely desperate, you won't see me finger pressing. You won't see me hand stitching. So nice, neat little seam, guys, because as you've just witnessed, you're going to see it. So nice little 1 or 2 stitches as a back stitch. Bring those edges together. And I think I've just about caught it. You could mark it with a pen, couldn't you, just to make sure. And then snip the little bits off. And again, you'll want to get in there with your iron and give that a lovely, lovely, lovely press. Isn't that glorious? I might give this an iron now, actually. Let's just have a look. Can you see okay? It's always interesting to see how long these things will take actually demonstrating it, and also, you know, how it's going to go. These things, you know, what with all the things we have to worry about, the technology of trying to get this to you, making sure the pattern works for you as well. It's no good doing a pattern that is of no use to you. And I think it's really lovely. From next week, we've got a bit of an Easter theme going on, so I hope you don't mind that. If you're not religious, if you don't sort of celebrate Easter, then I'm sure you'll be able to just forget about the fact that these are Easter gifts, but they can be used for other things as well, especially if you've got grandchildren. I'm not saying anything else, but bunny rabbits might come into it. Anyway, so so let's just move it where you can see it. So there we are. So you can, like I said before, it opens out almost flat, so you can get all your bits and bobs in there. And I love the gingham fabric, don't you? It looks really pretty. And of course then you've got the tabs to hold to bring the zip over. You've got the lovely, I'm using gingham, so I think that looks quite nice that you've got the contrast of the gingham on the tabs there. I think that looks quite sweet, doesn't it? With the gingham there. And then of course you've got the tab. If you closed it, you've got the tab there to pull it open again. And there we go. And then you've got it, the other tab, the other side to close it. And I think that's brilliant. So there we are. So that's number 2. I won't make any more. I have to move on to other things. So what we've done tonight is a little bit of quilting. And we've also done a zip, and we've put the 2 layers on at the same time. And we've learned a different way of making a pouch with a boxy bottom. So I think hopefully you'll enjoy that. So there we are. So that is our Making It Monday. So let's try and get you up there somewhere, if we can. There we go. If wires and everything were a bit wonky. Actually, we're a bit low. Hold on, bear with a moment. And thank you so much for my stars. Thank you so much for my stars. That's absolutely lovely. I've noticed 1 or 2 coming up through the screen as I've been working, but the screen has been like that. So I've had to sort of look down to see. And we've had a really good audience tonight as well. There's about 240, and I'm sure there was a few more halfway through. So thank you for that. Obviously I don't get anything for it, but it's lovely to think that you're all joining in. Now don't forget, the Making It Monday projects are going to always be on the website. They're always going to be for free. So don't think I get anything from this, because I don't. I just enjoy bringing these little projects to you. And the idea of Making It Monday is that they are easy, quick, useful little projects that you can make loads of if you want to. The other thing is, of course, don't forget to join the group, which is the Making It Monday ! Group. And if you pop along there, we've got nearly 1,000 members now. Well, I think we're about up to 800 or something like that, which is great because it's only a fortnight old. Thank you for the stars, Lynn. So you can hop along to the Making It Monday ! Group. Thank you, Shirley. And you can join in. Now, there are loads and loads and hundreds and hundreds of pictures in there. And considering we've only been going a fortnight, that's no mean feat. So you lot have been so busy. Some of you have made everything. Some of you have picked out 1 or 2 little bits and pieces. I don't mind what you do, as long as you enjoy doing it and find them useful. And of course, you know, think of all the people that could be the recipients of these little makes when we're, you know, it's not long now until we're going to be allowed to go out and about. And you can fill them with little treats for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, you know, anybody really. It'd be super, super cool. So like I said, next week, Making It Monday, Project 16 will have a little bit of an Easter theme to it. So I hope you will like it. I hope you're going to make loads of them. That's certainly the idea. So thank you so much for your company this evening. It's been absolutely lovely. Oh, hello from New Zealand. And I'm pleased that you could join me. Certainly, if you want to watch this again, there'll be a slightly shortened version on YouTube tomorrow. I'll get my John to do his technical wizardry on it and cut out a few little bits here and there. And yeah, so it'll always be on YouTube for you, or you can search in the videos on my Lizzy Curtis page. And of course, I'll always share it to the Making It Monday group. So there we are. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening. I'm going to put my feet up and have a little glass of sherry. So I'll see you all again next week. Bye everybody. Bye.